Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, January 20th. So we have the moon in Libra energy here all day, but we will see the moon go void, of course, at 11:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we won't be locking into Scorpio energy until 11:22 a.m. January 21st. So that is pretty much 12 hours of having the moon void, of course. When the moon is void, of course, things are shaky, unstable, uncertain, especially in our emotional realm. And of course, the transition of Libra energy into Scorpio energy is always intense because we're moving out of the shallow end of trying to keep things happy-go-lucky, peachy keen, and we are diving into the deep end in Scorpio energy to unearth the shadow parts of self that, again, preventing us from creating peace, harmony, balance, acceptance in ourselves and in our current circumstances. So, of course, there are 11 different aspects taking place here today. 9 of them involve the moon, and today is the very first full day of Aquarius season. So we have the sun and the moon, both in air energies, definitely pressurizing that headspace. If you haven't listened to this week's Ascension forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so that you understand how these energies this week is going to manifest in physical ailments, discomfort, aches, and pains due to the energy rising. With all of that being said, we kick off the day with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, in this Capricorn energy, making a very positive interaction with Jupiter, who happens to be retrograde in Gemini energy. So first of all, we know that Capricorn and Gemini energy, they have a tough time getting on the same page. However, Jupiter, because he's about growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, and he's currently taking a good look back, reflecting, revisiting, revising, pushing the boundaries of what we thought we knew, what we thought we learned, we're definitely in a better position to get a little bit serious, a little bit more somber, if you will. Thank you, Mercury and Capricorn energy, for that, on where it is that some of the challenges, some of the obstacles in which we're currently facing, we actually know better. We're the ones creating the problem. We have been in similar situations previous to this that we're just failing to recognize as a repeated pattern. So this is definitely going to put a lot of pressure on that headspace. Mercury, of course, ruler of that mental plane. Jupiter turns the volume up, magnifies whatever it is that we need to be thinking about. And although this could create a beautiful opportunity to have some big ideas, some big downloads and aha moments, what we're really doing is getting organized in our thoughts, understanding the plan, the path, the strategy that needs to come together in order for us to essentially move on and move forward. The moon in this Libra energy going to make a very harsh interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, ruling over roles, responsibilities, systems, structures, foundations, willpower, and discipline, who of course is in Pisces energy, trying to dissolve not only the old belief system, but the old world that old version of self had built and created. Of course, this is going to put us into a little bit of a negative narrative. Mr. Saturn always brings a little bit of a harsh truth, a harsh reality check, definitely tips the scales out of balance and puts us in a situation where we're creating a little bit more negativity, a little bit more of a negative Nancy vibe than there actually needs to be. This is about where it is that we are resisting, seeing the options and opportunities to boss up, to do better, to be better, and actually create a better realm and reality for us to be living in. But because we're desperately trying to hold on to the old, especially where shallow relationship connections are concerned, we are absolutely creating more of an issue, more of a problem, more of a blockage than there needs to be. The moon in this Libra energy is then going to make a very positive interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who of course is retrograde in Taurus energy. Uranus's retrograde in Taurus should be illuminating for us where it is that we're resisting moving on, where we're resisting kind of letting go, releasing the people, places, and things that we know aren't for us. We have to figure out why it is that we are holding on, why we think that holding on to something that we've outgrown that is no longer in resonance for us is a safety and security blanket. Now, luckily for us, this is a positive interaction. Uranus is going to bring a huge aha moment. Huge shift in our mood, in our attitude, in our perspective, in our understanding. And because of that, It's definitely going to help us come to a certain term of acceptance with what needs to be done, a certain realization with where it is that we're actually the ones destabilizing our emotional realm due to being consumed with trying to keep things the same when we know that we have to move on, we have to change, we have to transform. The moon is then going to make a very uncomfortable interaction with Venus. So Venus, of course, rules over that Libra energy. Venus being in this Pisces energy, we're definitely not on the same page. We're actually in a situation where we're hurting our own damn feelings because the moon in Libra wants us to find a balance, a compromise, a steady point in our emotional realm. We're starting to realize where it is that, again, Venus being in this Pisces energy has romanticized certain people, certain situations, certain circumstances in order for us to quote unquote settle. We have to put those particular connections, that particular romanticization behind us, that fantasy behind us. We have to get real, raw, vulnerable, listen to our heart space, listen to our higher self, and prepare to move on. The moon is then going to get into the boxing ring square off with Mercury. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane and Capricorn energy. We get this square because Libra and Capricorn energy are both cardinal energies. Our heart space, the moon, and Mercury, of course, our head space, are not on the same page at all. The square is illuminating the tension and the conflict that we're currently experiencing between our heart and our head because we're going through a major growing pain. Emotionally speaking, we want to keep things light and fluffy, but we're definitely, I'm going to say, sitting more in the darkness of our emotions than anything else. And Mercury in this Capricorn energy, who is literally annoyed at our own damn selves for having all of these feelings that, again, are creating a lot more problematic situations and anxieties than there needs to be. Mercury just wants us to get our shit together, to give our head a shake, to understand what our long-term goal vision actually is and where the people, places, and things that we're resisting letting go of right now don't even have a place in this vision, goal, and dream that we're currently trying to manifest. Now, this is also going to be a particular energy to pop off particular conversations needing to be had, specifically where relationship dynamics and finances are concerned. This is a time to kind of lean into where it is that you're feeling uncomfortable, where it is that you're feeling nervous, getting it off of your chest and out of your body, and then start planning and strategizing how you're going to move on, how you're going to move forward. We then have the moon in Libra energy directly opposing, sitting across from Chiron, the wounded healer, who of course is now direct in Aries energy. This opposition definitely going to pick off the scabs that we have been actively healing. We are at this particular juncture feeling a little bit whiny, a little bit victimhood mentality, a little bit wanting to cry over the mess that essentially we have made for our own damn selves. We are not feeling so hot, not feeling so optimistic, not feeling so confident. But at the same time, Chiron, being aspected in a negative way, needs us to be very aware of the pain, of the trauma, of the wounds that essentially we are repeating by trying to keep the old alive and well. Emotionally speaking, we are definitely not going to feel balanced, not going to feel safe, secure, stable in any kind of way. But again, we have a lot to learn from those not so nice thoughts, those not so nice emotions. And from this, we can definitely boss up, do better, be better, and of course, prepare ourselves to move on and move forward. The moon in Libra energy then going to make a very positive interaction with Saturn. So the earlier interaction in the day definitely didn't go so well, kind of put us in a spiral, it's definitely putting us in a negative Nancy, more pessimistic type of perspective. This one is going to help us out. We learned a lot from a lot of the negative thoughts and feelings that kind of rose to the surface of our awareness throughout the course of the day, and we are finally ready to move on and move forward, to boss up to new roles and responsibilities. We're finally starting to kind of see where that reality check was definitely needed in order for us to get a grip, for us to pull ourselves out of Delulu land, anchor ourselves into reality, and actually do what needs to be done to create the change that is needed. We do have the sun in this Aquarius energy now, semi-squaring, creating a little bit of tension and conflict with Saturn. So again, Saturn is the traditional ruler over Aquarius energy. Uranus is definitely the modern day ruler, but nonetheless, we have the Sun and Saturn coming together for this tension, for this conflict, in order for us to see where it is that we are struggling to understand what we have to do versus what it is that we want to do. There is a sense of responsibility, there is a sense of duty, there is a new desire to fight, defend, protect what it is that we've already built and created, especially in our emotional realm where safety, security, stability is concerned. There is going to be some triggers and activations to have us either feel like we are in control and therefore kind of push on and push forward, or not feel in control at all and therefore let ourselves fall into a pile of mush. We have to be a little bit more serious, a little bit more level-headed, if you will, and definitely kind of be a little bit more self-expressive, trying to people please, trying to be polite, trying to kind of deliver the message in the most positive ways sometimes creates a lot more anxiety and takes a lot more energy than the people that we're trying to express ourselves to essentially deserve. And so right now, the pressure is weighing on us, the pressure in our head space, the pressure in our heart space, the roles and responsibilities, the pressure of us getting our shit together, getting a plan together is definitely putting us in a little bit of an edgy type of situation. We are very sensitive, highly, highly triggered and activated. And because of this, we are definitely going to be, I'm going to say, losing ourselves in that negative mind space that, again, we found ourselves in earlier in the day that we just barely crawled out of. So what we're lacking right now is a realistic approach to the possibilities and opportunities that we currently have available to us. We aren't seeing the forest past the trees, so to speak. And so there's definitely a heaviness weighing on us at this particular point in time in order to essentially reframe our situations and see it as an option and opportunity for freedom and liberation instead of a punishment and a loss. The moon in this Libra energy then going to make a very harsh interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who of course is retrograde in Taurus energy. Libra and Taurus energy have a common ruler, which happens to be Venus. Because this is not the greatest interaction, we're not gaining the positive mood, the positive shift in our attitude, the clarity that we received earlier in the day. Instead, we again become the problem. We are losing ourselves in that vision. We are losing ourselves with what needs to be done. And therefore, we're creating a lot of anxiety, a lot of electricity coming into the physical form. Again, take a listen to the Ascension forecast this week to understand why that's taking place and what you can do about it. But essentially, the inner scales, definitely not in balance. We are not in alignment with something that we just arrived at, that we just started to accept earlier in the day. And now, because push is coming into a position to shove, we are starting to retreat and retract what we were confident about earlier on in the day. The moon in this Libra energy then going to make a positive interaction with Venus, the ruler of this Libra energy. And of course, Venus in this Pisces energy, not only trying to unpack, eliminate, remove a lot of the pain and trauma that we've accumulated through our self-confidence, self-esteem journey, but also through relationships and the financial aspect of how our self-worth translates into the relationship dynamics that, again, we are very overly connected to at this particular time, and the financial position that we find ourselves in as well. Emotionally speaking, the moon in Libra really wants to get on the same page with new wants, needs, and desires, what it is that we have to be changing and transforming in order to set ourselves free. All Venus is concerned about is where it is that she can kind of align with new worth, new values, new priorities, a new goal, vision, and dream that essentially she's going to act upon in order to bring safety, security, stability, not only to her day-to-day life, but to her relationship dynamics and to her money matters as well. We have the moon in this Libra energy getting into the boxing ring, squaring off with Mars. Mars being the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. He is currently retrograde, again, sitting on the bench, reassessing, revisiting, reflecting on his emotional fuel, on his boundaries, on his emotional passions and desires, on where it is that, again, safety, security, stability, especially in the home, especially in our emotional realm, is the name of the game. The square happens because Libra energy and Cancer energy are both cardinal signs. This square is highlighting tension and conflict, where it is that we're having a hard time going through this particular growing pain. This energy definitely going to flip over the apple cart, so to speak. We are tapping into restlessness, anger, frustration. We are feeling a little bit rebellious. We want to take action and make moves. We want to flip tables in the worst kind of ways, but of course we're being stunted, paused, if you will, from doing just that. We have at 11:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon going void, of course. This is the last thing that takes place here today. We will be sitting in that void for approximately 12 hours and carrying us into the early morning, Tuesday, January 21st, where again, the moon will eventually be shifting into Scorpio energy.